Have you ever been too scared to do what you believe God has called you to do? Well, thankfully, we have some examples in the Bible that tell us of other people that struggled with the same thing and how God responded to them. So I hope you'll jump into the video and let's check out how did this play out. I'll see you in there.
Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you.
Hey, welcome in. We are jumping into the next section of Judges chapter 7. We're going to hit verses 9 through 14. And so we're still walking our way up to when Gideon actually goes into battle against the Midianites, but it's a little bit of a journey for him. And I think I personally really appreciate how God handles this process, from his calling to the army selection to the actual before the battle starts and kind of some of the fear that creeps in. And so we're going to be talking about the dreamy response to Gideon's crippling fear. It's like God's response to fear is a lot, maybe a lot friendlier than we would maybe first imagine, because we could equate fear with a lack of faith or a lack of confidence in God. And so maybe that would really upset God. Maybe that would really tick him off, And so how would God respond to that? Well, we get a great opportunity here to see an actual person in the Bible that God called upon to do a pretty significant task. And he just, quite honestly, he was a little nervous. He was a little scared, a little, a little tentative, to step into the plan. And so we're going to jump into the text, and I think you're going to find it to be pretty helpful today. So let's go ahead and take a look. That night, verse 9, that night the Lord said to him, "Get up and attack the camp, for I have handed it over to you." So again, he's just restating the call, restating what I want you to do. And so I appreciate, that God just keeps pushing him along, keeps walking him along that path. But then, man, this next verse just hit me really hard when I read it. It's like, "But if you are afraid to attack the camp, go down with Purah, your servant, and listen to what they say, and then you will be encouraged to attack the camp." And so he went down with Purah, his servant, to the outpost of the troops who were in the camp. So I just love it. God comes to him and he's like, "Hey, man, get up and let's go attack, because I'm handing it over to you. I've got this already resolved for you." But then he recognizes his humanity. Like the Bible tells us that he recognizes that we are just dust, that we are just human in our frame. We are weak. We have our shortcomings. We have our issues like that, right? And so he's so good and gracious to us to say, "Hey, but if you're afraid to attack the camp, here's what I want you to do. So I want you to go down and I want you to check some stuff out, and I think you're going to be really encouraged." Now, the Midianites, Amalekites, and all the people of the east, just take that in for a second. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and the people of the east had settled down in the valley like a swarm of locusts, and their camels were as innumerable as the sand on the seashore. So their camels literally outnumbered how many warriors they had in their army. So they didn't even have enough forces to take out the camels, let alone the soldiers. You know what I'm saying? So just to kind of set the context of what they are up against, it's intense. So then when Gideon arrived, there was a man telling his friend about a dream, and he said, "Listen, I had a dream. A loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the Midianite camp, struck a tent, and it fell. The loaf turned the tent upside down so that it collapsed." Okay, that's kind of a weird dream. I mean, have you ever had a dream about a loaf of barley bread? No, me either. And his friend answered, "Obviously, bro." Now, he's like, this is nothing less than the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, the Israelite. God has handed the entire Midianite camp over to him. So this guy doesn't serve God, is literally having prophetic insight to interpret a dream that his friend had but he doesn't serve God, but he gets the answer of the dream spot on, right? And so just think about the sovereignty of this whole situation, that God comes and talks to Gideon and he says, hey, if you're afraid, I want you to go down over here and I want you to check this out. And I want you to bring one of your friends with you so that there's a witness to this whole situation, so that people don't think you're just crazy, but that they actually understand that you're hearing the word from God. And so he walks down there with his buddy, and they just happen upon a tent where two people are discussing a dream that was just had, and then the prophetic insight to understand what the dream meant and to say it all out loud, to say it loud enough that they could hear them. It's so crazy how much exact timing things had to line up for this thing to happen. But that is how important God saw Gideon having the encouragement and the information that he needed to really be able to step forward and to lead his little army against this giant force. So when we have God on our side, there is nothing that stands in our way. Like, it doesn't matter if they have more camels than we do soldiers. It doesn't matter if we're scared. It doesn't matter if there is every single thing stacked against us. God is the difference maker, period, end of story. And so it's just I don't know. It's a simple concept today. God comes to Gideon and he tells him what he's supposed to go do. But then God stops and he says, but hey, if you're a little bit scared, if you've got a little fear going on here and it's going to make you want to pull back and not fully execute what I'm telling you to do, here's what I want you to do. I have actually arranged for a little encouragement session to happen for you. I literally sent somebody a dream in some random tent in the army there. And so I want you to go down. I want you to check it out. It's just crazy. And then the fact that he had the friend next to him that had the revelation of what the dream meant, and it just sparked a thing in him. And so whose report are you going to believe? Are you going to believe the report of the Lord, or are you going to believe the report of your heart? Because in the Israelite history, obviously, they had some experience with saying no to the direction of the Lord because of what they were feeling in their heart and what they were assuming the enemy thought about them. The perfect example of this is when the Israelites came to the Jordan River to cross over into the promised land, into Canaan. And they were like, nope, they are giants. They think that we are like grasshoppers and they are going to destroy us. So we can't do it, even though we have the word of God on our side, even though we have all this stuff, right? Well, then 40 years later, after they go through essentially their consequences, their punishment for their disobedience, the two spies go to Rahab's house and she's like, man, we are all melting in fear because of the God that you serve. And this, because he is the one that divided the Red Sea and you guys crossed over the Red Sea on dry land. We know about that and we're freaked out because we know that you serve the mighty God of heaven. Okay, that's 40 years after the Red Sea thing had occurred, and it was still in their minds. But they didn't, like 2.5 years, whatever it was, after the Red Sea, they weren't even remembering it. I mean, talk about remember what God has done for you. Remember the amazing works of God, not just in your life, but in people around you and, experiences you have had. Remember those things and keep track of those things so that you can build and strengthen your faith based on God's previous performance. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is reliable. He's trustworthy. He's so faithful. Like, he never gives up on you. He will never leave you or forsake you. He will always see you through the battle. So Let's listen to God more than we listen to the enemy. Let's listen to God more than we listen to our own hearts. And let's allow the things that God has accomplished in us to encourage and strengthen our hearts so that we say no to that fleshly part of us that wants to be afraid and wants to back down. And let's step forward in boldness and confidence. And let's be thankful that we have a God that loves us enough to send some random person a dream, a person next to him to interpret it, and for them to talk about it at just the right time for us to hear the positive statements that God is on our side. So with that, God bless you. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, if you're getting value out of these videos, if you could just make sure you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. YouTube is suggesting a video right about here for you to check out. So go ahead and check out the next video.